I met him on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in a half-empty coffee shop, buried in my phone, escaping yet another bad day. Deadlines were drowning me, my relationship was falling apart, and my life felt like it was running on fumes. I didn't want to be anywhere, with anyone. That's when he walked in, old, soaked in rain, and smiling like he'd just discovered the meaning of life. He ordered a simple black coffee and sat down across from me. Not next to me. Not at a different table. Right across from me. Without asking. I looked up, annoyed. He smiled. "You look like you're carrying too much," he said softly, as if his words came from another era. I forced a tight smile and nodded out of politeness, hoping he'd take the hint. He didn't. "I used to think I had all the time in the world," he continued, wrapping his cold fingers around the warm cup. "Until one morning, I woke up and realized I had wasted half of it trying to be someone I wasn't." His voice had that rare quality, like he had lived 1,000 lives in one body. Against my better judgment, I asked, "What happened?" The man leaned back in his chair, staring out the window as if he could see the past drifting through the mist. "I chased success like it owed me something. Money, recognition, respect. I wanted it all. And I got it too. I built a name people remembered, a house people envied, a life people posted about." He paused, sipping his coffee. "But in the end, when I sat alone in my mansion, I realized I had no one to share it with. My wife left, my son barely called, and my soul had gone quiet. Do you know what silence inside feels like, son?" I didn't answer. I knew exactly what that silence felt like. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a faded photograph. A younger version of him was holding a boy, maybe 5 years old, on his shoulders. Both smiling. Both alive. "That's my son, Elijah." I missed his first steps. His first words. His first heartbreak. All for meetings, mergers, and milestones. I told myself I was doing it for him. But the truth is, I was doing it for my ego. His voice cracked, but he didn't cry. It was the kind of pain that had dried up every tear years ago. "You see," he said, "wisdom isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It whispers. And most of us, we don't listen until it's too late." I was no longer checking my phone. No longer rushing to leave. I was locked in his story like it was a mirror of my own future. I finally retired at 67. Thought I'd fix things. Thought I'd make it right. I called Elijah. Told him I was ready to be the father he always needed. He chuckled bitterly. "You know what he said?" I shook my head. He said, "You are a good provider, Dad. But I needed a parent, not a paycheck." Then he hung up. He let those words hang in the air like smoke. They burned even me. I spent decades building an empire, and lost the one kingdom that mattered, my home. The coffee had gone cold, but neither of us noticed. "What about now?" I asked, afraid of the answer. He smiled again. Not bitter, just honest. "Now I sit in cafes and talk to strangers, hoping maybe, just maybe, someone will hear what I never did. That life isn't about being remembered by the world. It's about being loved by a few." The rain had stopped, but inside me, a storm was clearing. I looked at the old man. No name, no invitation, just a story that cracked open something I had sealed for years. "I don't even know your name," I said. He chuckled. "Does it matter? Names fade. Lessons don't." He stood up, slow and deliberate. His knees trembled but his eyes were steady. "One last thing," he said, placing a wrinkled hand on my shoulder. "Forgive yourself early. Say what matters while you can. And remember, success is measured by how many hearts you've healed, not how many numbers are in your bank account." And then he walked out. Just like that. No drama. No goodbye. But he left behind a silence that wasn't empty anymore. That night, I called my father. The one I hadn't spoken to in years. I told my partner I was sorry for being distant. I made space for the people I had pushed aside. Not overnight. But that day, my life began to shift. Not because of a therapist. Not because of a book. Because an old stranger decided to speak when I needed to listen. And now, maybe, you needed to hear this too. We all meet teachers in unexpected places. And sometimes, the most powerful wisdom comes from a quiet voice across a rainy table, telling us what we've been too busy to learn. That love, presence, and forgiveness will always matter more than titles, timelines, or trophies. So slow down. Call them. Hold them. Live now. Before the table is empty and all that's left is cold coffee and a stranger's photo.